Federal prosecutors have invited forensic psychologist Dr. Dawn Hughes to testify in Diddy's upcoming lawsuit, and Diddy is scrambling. New lawsuits naming LeBron James, Jay-Z, and Beyoncé are popping up, while Diddy's legal team is trying to suppress any evidence that comes forward. This proves that Diddy is scared, and his lawyers will go to any length to get rid of incriminating material. Not only that, but Cassie's viral video could be the magic bullet that sends Diddy to jail. Let's break it down.
Here's a little bit more about what we know of Dr. Dawn Hughes. So it's in an exhibit that was filed in this case, and it's called Disclosure as to Expert Witness Dawn M. Hughes, PhD, ABPP. Dr. Hughes is a clinical psychologist and a board-certified forensic psychologist, and a leading expert on sexual abuse, interpersonal violence, victimization, and traumatic stress. The following includes the anticipated opinions the government expects Dr. Hughes will offer regarding sexual abuse and victim responses to sexual abuse, coercive control, coping strategies during and in relation to sexual abuse, delayed disclosure, and memory of sexual abuse. Quote, the government expects that Dr. Hughes will testify about coercive control as a tactic of victimization, i.e. the state to process of becoming a victim, and a strategy to gain dominance across a spectrum of relationships. Coercive control often includes a variety of physical, sexual, and/or emotional tactics that together function to control the victim.
Dr. Dawn Hughes' testimony is essential to the case, and she's going to prove that the actions of Diddy's victims line up with what abuse victims typically do. Several of Diddy's alleged victims remained friendly with Diddy even after the alleged abuse occurred. His lawyers are trying to say that this proves that Diddy is innocent. Dr. Dawn Hughes and other forensic psychologists, however, have said that this behavior is consistent with abuse victims.
Right, to have these alleged victims testify and then have Dr. Hughes potentially explain certain behaviors or actions as evidence of abuse. And that's important because you may have alleged victims who claim they were sex trafficked or victimized by Sean Combs, but decided to stay in a relationship with him or stay in contact with him or acquiesce to his demands or forget certain details or not report it immediately or whatnot. Now, we don't know for sure, but I think that's a fair estimation. And Dr. Hughes could testify for the prosecution and suggest that all of this is consistent with what has been seen in other abuse survivor stories. And it doesn't mean that these women aren't telling the truth about what happened. Now, the defense doesn't want her to testify. And that is quite clear in their motion in limine to preclude testimony of Dr. Dawn Hughes. So motion in limine is a pretrial motion to prevent certain evidence from coming into trial, being seen or heard by the jury, or limiting it in some way. So I want to dive into this. It starts off by reading, quote, the prosecution seeks to call Dr. Dawn Hughes as an expert witness to offer opinions about typical behaviors among perpetrators and victims of abuse and sexual violence. Hughes has not reviewed or evaluated any of the evidence in this case. While purporting to offer only background information, her opinions are skewed to advance the government's themes, and her testimony will mirror that of the government's fact witnesses. Her testimony's only real purpose is to support an inference that because the accusers in this case behaved in typical ways, they must be telling the truth. Hughes' testimony should not be admitted.
All be attacked on cross-examination. Their character will be impugned. They will attack the victims for not coming forward until Cassie Ventura came forward. How do you fix that? You find an outcry witness. What is an outcry witness? An outcry witness is someone the victim told about their at the time. So 10 years ago, I told you Sean Combs raped me at this party. I told you that then, but I never made a police report. That adds credence, credibility to the victim's statement. So a lot of victims are going to be attacked because they continued in a seemingly friendly relationship with Combs. A lot of women do that. Your boss makes advances on you unwanted. What do? Quit and starve? There's a lot of reasons women maintain a relationship with the rapist. So we may lose credibility on a couple of witnesses, but the sheer number of them, I find it hard to believe that a jury will choose to disbelieve all of these ladies and choose to believe Sean Combs.
Evidence is stacking up against Sean Diddy Combs, and his lawyers are struggling. A new motion has just been filed to get rid of the footage of Diddy beating Cassie. First posted by CNN, the video footage showed Diddy violently beating Cassandra Ventura and then dragging her by the hair. Diddy's lawyers have tried multiple times to get this video removed from evidence, and they are now saying that this footage has been edited to make Diddy look worse.
Combs wants that video or videos excluded from trial, and for that, we turn to his motion in limine to exclude video footage of that March 5th, 2016 incident. Motion in limine is a pretrial motion that aims at preventing evidence from coming into trial or limiting it in some way. And it starts by saying, quote, "There is no longer any dispute that the CNN footage from March 5th, 2016 at the Intercontinental Hotel offered by the government at 3 separate bail hearings is wholly inaccurate, having been altered, manipulated, sped up, and edited to be out of sequence. As indicated below, CNN paid Redacted, don't know who this person is, Redacted, for footage, copied that footage in unknown ways, presented that footage out of order, and destroyed the original. Accordingly, all the footage from CNN is inaccurate and inadmissible. As for the 2 items of footage filmed by an iPhone 6, those pieces of footage are inaccurate and inadmissible as well for the reasons set out below."
Keep in mind that Diddy has already publicly apologized for his actions and acknowledged that the video is real. He apologized for the same video that he claimed that he was disgusted by, but he's now saying that it's fake.
It's so difficult to reflect on the darkest times in your life. Sometimes you gotta do that. I was f***ed up. I hit rock bottom. But I make no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video. I'm disgusted. I was disgusted then when I did it. I'm disgusted now. I went and I sought out professional help. I had to go into therapy, and go into rehab. Had to ask God for his mercy and grace. I'm so sorry. But I'm committed to be a better man each and every day. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm truly sorry.
Let's talk about the showdown in the courtroom over the bombshell video allegedly showing Sean Diddy Combs beating his then-girlfriend Cassie Ventura.
Now, Diddy's lawyers are arguing to exclude the footage from the rapper's upcoming sex trafficking trial. Legal contributor Brian Buckmeyer joins us now with more on what this could mean for the high-profile case. So good to have you. Okay, so they want this video left out. What's their argument for this?
So Mark Agnifilo, Sean Combs' attorney, is arguing that, you probably hear this phrase, this is not a true and accurate representation of what the video depicts. He's saying a number of arguments that the CNN had taken this video and sped it up. They kind of chopped it up into this montage, and it's not accurate. He's also making the allegation that the original video no longer exists. And so because this isn't accurate, the jury shouldn't see it. And according to Diddy's attorneys, because the original doesn't exist or it's been tampered with, no video such as this should be presented to the jury.
So what is CNN saying about these claims?
So CNN has come out and said, we did not alter it. We did not change anything. And in fact, they're saying that they do have the original as well. So on multiple levels, Sean Combs' argument kind of falls flat, because if it is sped up, and I think there is some degree of it's being sped up, if the original still exists, that can still be used as evidence against Sean Combs, not necessarily to the allegations of trafficking, RICO conspiracy, or the transportational purpose of prosecution, but to show that this is a force that it was used to keep victim number one, who we believe to be Cassie in this video, under his control for the purpose of trafficking and this RICO conspiracy.
Diddy's lawyers know that the second this video is played in court, Diddy's going to be declared guilty. Shockingly, Diddy's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, says that this video is completely irrelevant to the case, and all it shows is a man catching his partner cheating on him. And that doesn't have anything to do with the sex trafficking charges against him.
The request from the court is to hold a hearing. And at this hearing, Combs explains that his team wants to call a forensic video analysis named Connor McCord to show that this video evidence is inaccurate. Sean Combs' defense team argues the videos are unreliable, that they would unfairly confuse and mislead the jury, that they would be more prejudicial to Combs than it would provide any kind of relevant or probative value for the prosecution's case. They write, quote, "If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video is worth a number well over the court's word limit." Again, the basic argument from Combs and his team is that CNN heavily and deceptively edited the video and turned about 10.5 minutes of footage into a 48-second, quote, out-of-order clip that ended with Combs appearing to drag redacted, again, we believe that to be Cassandra Ventura, to a hotel room. And they argue that this painted the rapper and the music mogul in the worst possible light for the world to see. And as they previously incorrectly mentioned, prosecutors relied on this tape in prior bail hearings to support their argument that Combs shouldn't be released pre-trial. But
when I looked at that thing, to be honest, I thought that the people who was watching it, because you know at those hotels, they have security personnel that watch that stuff. And if they didn't call the police, they should be in jail. I don't care what nobody say. You know, whoever watched that tape and didn't submit that to the authorities, they should be brought up on charges.
Why do you think the video is barely coming out right now? Because you got a lot of people, you know, that's wondering why it took so long.
First of all, they know that Puff probably paid the security personnel because he knew it was on camera. When he made it to the hallway, when she made it to that phone, once that phone picked up, that's going straight to security. That's for emergency purposes only. So either the concierge or somebody that's handling emergency type situations when she picked up that phone. So now, Puff probably had somebody pay them off. 9 times out of 10, he had somebody pay them off, bruh.
Diddy's lawyers have also filed motions to get the evidence collected during the raids on his mansions dismissed. This time, they claim that the search warrants obtained for the raid were obtained illegally, and all of the freak-off tapes along with the baby oil seized from his mansions needs to be suppressed.
Now to Sean Diddy Combs, looking to suppress evidence in his federal trial. Senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky is back with the story. Good morning again, Aaron.
And to you, Michael. You'll remember federal agents from Homeland Security investigations were hardly shy when they raided Sean Combs' opulent homes in Los Angeles and Miami, guns drawn. The jailed music mogul now argues those searches and other searches of his iCloud accounts, electronic devices, and New York City hotel room following his arrest were unconstitutional. His lawyers argue evidence obtained through those searches must be suppressed. Diddy's lawyers say the government presented a grossly distorted picture of reality when applying for the search warrants, omitting certain facts and including salacious details from an unnamed producer that were never credible. Combs has pleaded not guilty to racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and prostitution charges. The defense is also arguing here his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, was a willing participant in drug-fueled sex performances called freak-offs, not coerced, as prosecutors allege. This latest challenge to his case comes 3 months before trial, and as Combs loses one of his attorneys, Anthony Rico says under no circumstances can he continue to represent Combs. He offered no details about that decision, Robin.
Okay. All right. Thanks to you, Aaron.
As if lying to get rid of evidence wasn't enough, Diddy's lawyers are also trying to turn his case into a race issue. Court documents show that Diddy's lawyers are claiming that the only reason prosecutors are coming after Diddy is because he's a successful black man. Unfortunately for Diddy, pointing fingers at the prosecutors and saying that they shouldn't have come after you isn't really a valid defense.
Sean Combs asked the judge in his federal case to throw out one of the charges. He says he's being targeted because he's a black man and the charge is rooted in racism. I look at Combs' argument and his chances of success. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Anjanette Levy. Sean Diddy Combs wants one of the counts in his federal superseding indictment thrown out. Combs argues he's basically being singled out by federal prosecutors because of his race and his success in business. The charge he wants the judge to toss is count 3.
Diddy's defense seems to be gearing up toward his alleged criminal conduct wasn't criminal. It was his personal business of what was going on in his bedrooms or hotels or wherever the freak-offs occurred. So they're saying that count 3 wasn't transportation to engage in prostitution, but was just him using escorts, male escorts at that, to bring in as a third with his girlfriends. Whereas the government's theory of the case is Diddy used force, fraud, and coercion to make his alleged victims have sex against their will in his freak-offs that he recorded for his own pleasure. Now, Diddy pleaded not guilty to all his charges, hence why the case is going to trial.
Things are apparently looking so bad for Diddy that his lawyers are trying to get the trial delayed. They know that unless the evidence against him gets dismissed, there is no way that Diddy is walking away from this. The same man that was desperate to get out of jail and was filing bail hearings every week is now okay with waiting 2 more months for a trial.
The trial of music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, a judge has denied his request to delay the proceedings, and that means jury selection could start in just weeks. ABC's Phil Lipoff is tracking this case. Good morning, Phil.
Yeah, Gio, good morning. It looks like it's going to. Sean Combs' trial date is set to go on as expected Friday. A judge ruled Combs' criminal sex trafficking trial will begin next month as scheduled after he denied the defense's request for a 2-month adjournment. The trial is set to begin May 5th with jury selection. The judge said it was unclear why there isn't sufficient time to prepare, especially since 4 different law firms are now representing him. The judge agreed, however, to allow alleged victims to testify under pseudonyms, but one star witness, Diddy's ex, Cassie Ventura, is expected to testify under her own name. She filed, you'll remember, a quickly settled civil lawsuit against Combs. The judge agreed with a defense request to receive outtakes of interviews conducted for a documentary produced by Warner Brothers. Those interviews were conducted with potential trial witnesses. Combs appeared in Jailhouse Beige on Friday and was given a moment at the end of the hearing to communicate with his mother and one of his sons. He told them, "I love you and we're good." He has pleaded, we should mention, not guilty to all 5 federal counts and maintained his innocence.
Other lawyers have already realized that there is nothing they can do for Diddy anymore. Anthony Rico, one of Diddy's best attorneys, quit after filing a motion with the court saying that, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel." Interestingly, right around the time that Diddy got charged, his law firm Grubman, Shire, Meiselas, and Sachs dropped him as a client. Diddy had been with Grubman, Shire, Meiselas, and Sachs for over 20 years, and after the federal lawsuit was filed against him, they left him.
Sean Diddy Combs' legal team is getting a little smaller as the rap mogul's defense team prepares for his May trial on sex trafficking charges. His attorney, Anthony Rico, respectfully but regrettably requested to be dismissed from his role, according to documents obtained by NBC News. Rico, who is one of 6 attorneys on the case, requested in the February 21st filing to withdraw as representation because, quote, "Under no circumstances can I continue to effectively serve as counsel for Sean Combs, consistent with the ABA standards for criminal justice." The motion continues, quote, "While I'm aware that the local rule requires that an application for withdrawal of counsel is supported and granted only upon a showing by affidavit or otherwise of satisfactory reasons for withdrawal, there are sufficient reasons related to the protections afforded by the attorney-client privilege for brevity in my application for withdrawal as counsel in this case."
So the high-powered law firm of Grubman, Shire, Meiselas, and Sachs has dropped Combs as a client. Now, this is the firm of Alan Grubman, who is a very prominent entertainment lawyer that represents some very big names. The Weeknd, Madonna, Chris Brown, Paul Simon, Usher, Bruce Springsteen. In fact, by the way, Alan Grubman was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He actually helped found that back in the 1980s. So, gives you an idea about how big of a powerhouse this firm is. Now let's go back to Sean Combs. So the rumor circulating is that this firm did this because singer and actress Lady Gaga had threatened to leave the firm unless they parted ways with Combs. This is according to reporting by News Nation. And it's a big deal because the rapper and producer had apparently been with Grubman's firm for over 20 years. He was friends with Alan Grubman by all accounts.
Having your lawyer quit just weeks before you're supposed to go for trial isn't a good sign.
An attorney walking away. Sometimes it's because they don't get the lead chair or one of the lead chairs. Sometimes it's because a client is lying. Sometimes it's because they believe wholeheartedly that the client is going to be guilty and they don't want to be associated with that guilt because that's a loss on their record. It could be a variety of things, but the fact that we are speculating about that when the trial date hasn't even started yet concerns me because I'm one of those people, ladies and gentlemen, who firmly believes it's virtually impossible to find a jury that's not contaminated by some kind of information that's been put out to the public before a trial begins. I'm not one of those that believes that. May 5th is May 5th. I mean, come on now. That's more than 2 months away. Jury ain't been selected yet. You trying to tell me nobody that's on the jury will have heard that a lawyer backed out of the case? I don't know about y'all, but I find that that's not a good thing for Sean Diddy Combs.
To make matters even worse for Diddy, a new lawsuit has been filed and it mentions several more co-conspirators, including Drusky and Odell Beckham Jr. Allegedly, both Drusky and Odell were involved in the sexual assault of a woman that Diddy targeted as a form of revenge. Drusky has denied the allegations with a post on X, formerly Twitter, which reads, "This allegation is a fabricated lie. I wasn't a public figure in 2018. I was broke living with my mom, without any connections to the entertainment industry at the time of this allegation. So the inclusion of my name is truly outlandish. My heart breaks for actual victims of abuse. But I'm fully confident that the evidence will expose this falsehood and the individuals who are maliciously trying to game the legal system to peddle false narratives."
Just all get while
Were
the
you at
getting's
any of the
good.
Diddy parties, or did you miss that?
What the? Where did that come from? How did that? Of all questions.
Wait, did you miss that train?
How did that go?
That train might have left the
That
station,
train took
but
off
you
from
were
the
right
station.
there.
Yeah,
You
that
were
train,
right there to
that
get on
train
that.
took off from the station for sure.
You were close.
Yeah. I wasn't at that train station.
You left early? You left
No,
early?
that was down the street from me. I wasn't there. No.
Did you ever meet Diddy?
Yo, what the
Bro, yo, I forgot you
He's
actually
like,
might
yo,
have.
I've seen pictures with you there.
Another lawsuit this time bringing up who many would have never suspected. LeBron James is now also here. Believe it or not, but LeBron is a longtime friend of Diddy and has been seen at several of his parties. There is even a video of him telling Diddy, "Ain't no party like a Diddy party." Victim Joseph Manzaro alleges that he was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually maimed as a victim of a coercive and organized criminal enterprise, facilitated by Diddy and others back in 2015.
Sean Diddy Combs is facing new accusations of human trafficking as he awaits his federal trial. In a civil case filed in Florida April 1st, Joseph Manzaro alleges, according to court documents obtained by E! News, that he was drugged, transported against his will, and sexually maimed as a victim of a coercive and organized criminal enterprise facilitated by Combs and others back in 2015, and names celebs such as Beyonce, Jay-Z, and LeBron James as witnesses in the lawsuit. In his filing, Manzaro says the alleged events took place in April 2015. He states that he lost consciousness after feeling a, quote, greasy substance resembling Vaseline as he opened the front door to his home, after which he says he was transported to another residence, where an associate of Combs allegedly told him that the music mogul wanted him brought to a freak-off event. Manzaro alleges in the suit he was secretly transferred to the music producer's home through a concealed tunnel allegedly connected to Gloria Estefan and Emilio Estefan's Miami property. He alleges that upon regaining partial consciousness, he found himself inside a large party area upon information and belief that it was a birthday party for Combs' then 17-year-old son Christian Combs. There, he was allegedly forced to appear in a penis mask. The lawsuit states, Jay-Z and Beyonce Knowles Carter were seated in the room, and upon seeing Manzaro, Beyonce Knowles Carter asked, "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a penis mask standing here in front of me?" Manzaro alleges in the lawsuit that he was then forcibly paraded through multiple rooms filled with people who were jeering and taunting him.
High-profile individuals, including Jacob Arabo, Jay-Z, Gloria Estefan, LeBron James, and Beyonce Knowles Carter, are identified as witnesses due to their presence or knowledge of the events surrounding the freak-off orchestrated by defendant Diddy. Wow. And freak-off, of course, is something that we've heard many times before, both in Combs' criminal case and other civil cases, to describe these prolonged sexual episodes, usually with sex workers. But Manzaro is suing Sean Combs. He is suing a man named Eric Mejias. He is suing Brendan Paul, who's been described in another lawsuit as Sean Combs' drug mule, Emilio Estefan, who is married to pop superstar Gloria Estefan, and Adria English, who filed her own lawsuit against Sean Combs, claiming she too was a victim of sex trafficking. By the way, it's interesting he's not suing these other celebrities that I mentioned, like Jay-Z and Beyonce and Gloria Estefan, possibly because he doesn't believe their alleged liability amounted to a civil claim. but seems to want to call them as witnesses at a trial, although I have to imagine they will do everything in their power to quash any subpoena should this case progress, and we'll talk a little bit more about whether or not it will.
Jay-Z and Gloria Estefan have both denied the allegations. Jay-Z's lawyer Alex Spiro has told People magazine, Jay-Z wasn't in Florida at that time to witness this incident. He was engaged in easily findable public activities that prove he was not at this event. This is more nonsense that erodes the trust in our justice system.
Beyonce, Jay-Z, and Gloria all witnessed his abuse, but allegedly did nothing.
Yeah, let's skip over that.
Okay. I don't like it at all. Gloria and Emilio denying the claims, telling ET there were no parties thrown at that property between 2012 and 2019. The couple says they have documents to back their denial and will provide them in court if necessary.
I could not believe what I was hearing.
God. As for Jay-Z, his rep tells ET he wasn't in Florida at that time to witness this incident. He was engaged in easily findable public activities that prove he was not at this event, adding, this is more nonsense that erodes the trust in our justice system.
A lot of times people say things because they don't want to get themselves in a PR disaster. It can't be, write a check.
Diddy can try, but he can never get rid of the people who are speaking out against him. Cassie has been confirmed as one of the victims listed in the government's lawsuit, and she's going to testify in the upcoming trial.
All right, Cassie, she plans to testify against Diddy at the trial, and she's going to use her name. So a lot of the women who have accused Diddy are anonymous. They're right. Jane Doe or Victim 1.
Or John Does.
Or John Does. But Cassie apparently is going to take this stand and talk about her obviously that tape of him beating her up at the hotel is what set off this whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, this has just made it matters so bad for Diddy. So now that she is going to sit up there and look him square in the eyes and talk about her side of the story, that's not great for Diddy, obviously.
No, and I think also Cassie is a celebrity, right? Millennials know who she was or is. She had a booming career back in the day. So I think it also adds some extra zhuzh when you have a well-known public figure coming forward.
Trusted public figure.
Trusted and beloved too. So I think that also will hurt him. She, of course, became public. All of this went public when that video came out from CNN. So it's been revealed who she is already, and now she is not looking to conceal her name. She wants to, put it all out on the table. And yeah, yikes, it could be really bad for him.
Inside the courtroom, report that Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson read out loud the text that Diddy reportedly sent to Cassie Ventura after an altercation in a hotel in 2016. She references security video of the event that went public, showing Diddy hitting his then-girlfriend in a hotel hallway. The text from Diddy at the time read, quote, "Call me, the cops are here. I got 6 kids. Yo, please call, I'm surrounded. You gonna abandon me all alone?" The assistant U.S. attorney argues in court that, quote, the defendant knew he had done something that could elicit police response. She stated that if the music producer were freed from jail, it may prevent witnesses from testifying against him, and denied his bail a second time.
No matter how many distractions his team throws up, the truth and the footage aren't going anywhere. And with Cassie and other alleged victims set to testify, it looks like Diddy's time in the spotlight might finally be turning into a spotlight of accountability. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss the next update in this unfolding storm.